Hello and welcome to week number 28, where we start the week with some practices, practices for being more mindful during this week, practices that help us to reduce stress. Yes, to reduce stress. I am calling this week's practice the heart of compassion, softening your inner world. The heart of compassion, softening your inner world. So compassion as a word is a word that's been around for a while. You know, I it must have been a good number of years ago when I forget where I read this book that gave me a different interpretation of compassion. Because when you think about compassion, as I had always thought about compassion, it seemed to be something that you give to others. You give to others out there. And when I read this book, almost like a spotlight for the first time, this book talks about compassion and being something that actually you shine on yourself. And I never thought about compassion that way. I never thought about being compassionate to Jude. I never thought about being compassionate to me. I'd always thought about compassion and being compassionate as an external, almost like an externalized action that you give out there. And that really changed a lot about myself and about how I thought about compassion. And actually, I do remember then when I did go through this practice of directing compassion at me first. And it was an amazing experience. It was a softening experience. I felt my inner world soften because when you think about it, we are our worst critics. The things that we say to ourselves, um, the things that we believe about ourselves, um, can be nothing short sometimes of catastrophic. You know, I was speaking to my daughter yesterday actually about speaking out loud because sometimes I hear her speaking out loud to herself in the bathroom, and she's 12. Um, and we were talking about the things that we say, and I was saying to her, I asked her the question, I said, so what do you often say to yourself? Do you notice, for example, that when you speak to yourself, you might be telling yourself off? Um, and she said, what did she say? She said, no, Papa. Actually, when I speak to myself, I am gingering myself up. I'm talking about things that I could do from a more positive perspective. And I thought to myself, fantastic, that's what you should do. More often than not, when we speak to ourselves, it's always kind of the policeman or the policewoman talking to us, telling us things that we didn't do and what we should have done. This week, the heart of compassion in softening my inner world is all about turning the spotlight of compassion first and foremost on me and feeling the embrace of compassion. Almost um, make compassion that word, give it human qualities and see if you can wrap your arms or allow yourself to be wrapped with compassion and just be there and sense what that feels like. That's going to be our practice today. Um, and so the heart of compassion, the heart of being compassionate starts with me, starts with you. And so this week, how are you going to be compassionate towards yourself? How are you going to demonstrate compassion towards yourself? Do you know when those situations arise when you want to tell yourself off? How are you going to switch and change your inner world to one whereby actually rather than tell yourself off, you give yourself a warm embrace, a warm, compassionate embrace. So that's going to be our practice this week. And let's start with a short practice now in terms of how we're going to demonstrate being compassionate to ourselves. And as always, we begin by getting ourselves into a comfortable position. Taking a deep breath. Or noticing just your normal breathing. In and out. Taking a pause. And returning to the body. Noticing, for example, how you're sitting. Feet on the floor. Sitting erect. Perhaps you're walking or standing. Lying down. Just noticing how your body is located. Allowing yourself to arrive here and bringing along with you to this short practice everything that you feel right now. Feelings of wanting to be here, feelings of not wanting to be here, perhaps feelings of tiredness. Whatever it is, it's welcome. Bring it in. Allow yourself to be here. And here is this quote that I'm going to read as you have your eyes closed or open, whichever works best for you. But as you remain in this state of calmness that we've entered, here is this quote from Ian McLaren. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. And so sitting here, still noticing yourself breathing. And now bring anybody, anyone that you think or feel, bring that person to mind that you want to wish compassion to. Doesn't matter who that person is, someone that you know, perhaps a close friend, family relative, perhaps someone that you don't know. Doesn't really matter. Just bring someone to mind that you know may be going through a little bit of a hard time. Now, once you have them in mind, let them just sit here before you. And all I want you now to say to them is, I wish you kindness in this moment. When you can say that out loud, you can say it in your heart. I wish you kindness in this moment. And you can expand that. I wish you kindness. I wish you joy. I wish you peace in this moment. And sit down. Just sit with this wish, with these wishes that you've offered. Let's just sit here for a second as you allow these good wishes to rest on this person or persons. And now what I'd like you to do is turn the spotlight of compassion that you wished to this person onto yourself now. Literally switch it around and say the same to yourself out loud or internally. Say to yourself, I wish myself kindness. I wish myself joy. I wish myself peacefulness in this moment. I wish myself joy. I wish myself kindness. I wish myself peacefulness in this moment. And now just sit for a second and just feel the warm embrace of the words that you've just said. You're not thinking here now, you're just sitting and allowing yourself to be wrapped, allowing yourself to be embraced with the warmth of compassion. Feel your inner world soften. Feel the hardness of your inner world soften and collapse. Feel the walls of resistance begin to fall. Allow them, if you want to, and if you may, allow them to fall. As you breathe in compassion now, and breathe out compassion. Breathe in compassion and breathe out compassion. Surround yourself with compassion as your inner walls soften. And as we come towards the end of this practice, notice how your breathing continues. And beyond this meditative practice, beyond this practice, as you breathe in and breathe out, breathing in compassion and breathing out compassion to others, in and out. And when you're ready, you can open up your eyes. And so, thank you for participating in this week's short practice. The tip this week is, as we've said during this practice, is to breathe in compassion and breathe out compassion to others. Breathe in compassion, feel your walls soften, your inner world soften. And so we'll end with the quote from Ian McLaren. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Be kind, for that's so important. Everyone you meet is struggling. Believe it. They're fighting their own battle. Even those that seem the happiest, they are internally fighting their own battle. So demonstrate compassion to them by demonstrating compassion first and foremost to yourself. See you next week.